Time now for Back Pages tonight here on Sky Sports News, bringing you a first look at the sports stories in the morning's newspapers. Welcome along, and joining us on the show, the Sun's football editor Charlie Wyett and the Scottish Sun's sports editor Roger Hannah. Welcome to you both. Great to have you with us. Let's quickly run through the back pages as we head into another big weekend. The front page of the Telegraph sports section headline: Southgate to ring changes. The image many of the papers has of the England squad, but then on the right-hand side is Virgil van Dijk after the Netherlands-France goalless draw in Leipzig. Bitter orange Atwell and Taylor sparked Dutch VAR row. We'll talk about the English officials, no doubt. Mirror back page headline references the yoga on our last leg. Southgate admits the stars are off the pace and Kane is struggling with his fitness. Back page of the Mail, Rice a warning, play on ice warning, I think. We must sort out tactical plan or teams will pick us off, says England star Declan. And they also have the story of Andy Murray, who's set for shock back surgery on Saturday, just over a week from Wimbledon. Back page of the Sun has the headline, it's still coming in reference to a yoga recovery session for England following that 1-1 draw with Denmark. It probably looks better than it sounds, sorry about that. A headline in Roger's paper, the Scottish Sun, of course, Kieran Tierney, really sad news, going home. Euros are over for heartbreaking Kiernan, and below staying put. Assistant coach John Carver is backing stars to qualify from that game against Hungary. OK, gents, let's start with the Telegraph. Southgate to ring the changes. In the subtext here, manager concerned about Captain Kane's match fitness. England prepared to freshen up team against Slovenia. Roger, is it inevitable that changes will come, or do you think Southgate will stick to his guns and see if it can work for a third time?
I think there will be changes, Terry. Actually, I was reading inside the Telegraph Oliver Brown's piece where he described the performance yesterday against the Danes as rancid plonk. You have to remember last Friday night I spent my time watching Scotland lose 5-1 to Germany, so you need to put a 1-1 draw with Denmark into perspective. But I do sense my colleagues south of the border have seen this performance and this result coming. Is only 2 wins from 7 for Gareth Southgate's England. Lost to Iceland at Wembley before the tournament. There was that own goal that was required to get a point in North Macedonia at the tail end of last year. And I think this result has been coming. I think Gareth Southgate he wasn't as confident, as composed perhaps after the game last night. You've seen him in the past at major tournaments. I think he knows he needs to make changes.
Interesting. Yeah, you mentioned that piece by Oliver Brown. I believe we can go to that now, Charlie. Have England's team finally outgrown Southgate's dogma? This is Oliver Brown, chief sports writer for The Telegraph in Cologne. He references the Calvin Phillips comment from Southgate, Charlie, in particular. Are we in danger of, I guess, sparking some sort of dissension between the players and the manager, or is it happening anyway? What's your take on it?
No, I think ultimately, I mean, the Calvin Phillips line, in many respects, is true in that, along with Declan Rice, it was a good partnership. And you could argue so was the one with Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson, but neither of those could be picked due to their terrible form. So there is an issue there. There's a huge issue. Who's going to play next to Declan Rice? It's not going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold, because that project has pretty much been a disaster. It's certainly not good enough. So of course there's issues in the team, and there's the team looks tired. I think some of them aren't fit. And if you throw it all together, you're playing against a couple of 5-man defences, which England have been forced to do. So it's no wonder they've struggled. But the performance, neither performance have been good enough. As Roger says, you go back to the Macedonia game. It's 7 games now they've not played that well. You have to go back to Italy really. So it's a long time. So the result, this run of results maybe has been coming, but Gareth Southgate only has a couple of days to sort it out.
Interesting, Roger. Back page of the Star, not fit for purpose is the headline. Another picture of Southgate. Southgate says leggy Lions struggling to keep up. Is there a point there's mitigating circumstances here, Roger? Not necessarily that players aren't fit to play, but they're not match fit. Kane's been injured, Stones has been injured. Anthony Gordon said he barely trained in a month coming into the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see it in Harry Kane. I was reading, I think it was Sam Dean's statistical piece in the Telegraph today. I think Kane's had fewer shots on goal, fewer touches on the pitch in this tournament than in any of the major tournaments he's played before. He didn't finish the season in Bayern's first team because of injury. I think he's only played one full 90 minutes in the last 6 weeks, and it looked like that in the second half against the Danes. It takes something for Gareth Southgate to withdraw his captain from the game and send on Ollie Watkins as he did. I actually thought England looked brighter when Ollie Watkins came on. Not that I think for a moment that Kane won't start against Slovenia on Tuesday, but it is a worry. Luke Shaw is a worry. I think he trained indoors again today. I would doubt you would see him at any stage against Slovenia on Tuesday. And it's a case now for Gareth Southgate. What does he do? Can he freshen it up with the likes of maybe Kobe Mainoo going in alongside Declan Rice? Is it Adam Wharton in alongside Declan Rice? Or can he withdraw Jude Bellingham? And can he play, say, for argument's sake, a Cole Palmer? I read Charlie's piece in The Sun tomorrow. Among the tactical alterations Charlie suggests is perhaps going back to the three at the back that served Gareth Southgate well in major tournaments before.
Well, you mentioned Charlie's piece. Let's get to another one here, Charlie. On the back page of The Sun, Pearce, drop Kane. You've been speaking to an inspirational former England player, Stuart Pearce. What's his argument about dropping Kane? Do you concur with it?
Well, he just feels that Kane is not on it, and let's not forget, Stuart Pearce has got a real tight bond with Gareth Southgate, and for him to come out with it, for this line really just shows you what a concern Harry Kane's form and fitness is. I mean, a few of us spoke to Southgate after his post-match press conference last night, and he was again asked, "Is Kane fit?" And he insisted yes, but he certainly isn't moving properly, is he? He's not playing like that player that got 43 goals. For Bayern Munich before he suffered that back injury in training before Champions League game against Real Madrid, and he's not looked right. He didn't start the first warm-up game against Bosnia, and he didn't play very well against Iceland. And despite Southgate saying how well he played in the first game against Serbia, he didn't really. And in the game last night, a great finish, but he was just way off. 22 touches, most of them in his own half. So I can see why some people would feel that they need to make a change. I still think Southgate will stick with Kane. And as Roger said, I've done a piece in tomorrow's paper that I think they should go to, a three-man defence like they did in Russia. I don't think he will. And it wouldn't surprise me if the change is maybe Conor Gallagher just for Alexander-Arnold. I'm hoping he makes more changes than that, but I think Gallagher is likely to start.
Roger, you referred to this piece by, I think, Sam Dean in The Telegraph, what lies behind Kane's struggles, and Sam writing, if England are to find form, the captain must be a bigger influence higher up the pitch, not isolated in his own half. The highlights here of the piece seem to be that he's not touching the ball as much as usual, and when he tends to, it's in the centre circle. Is there a conundrum there, Roger, for Southgate, though? Because if Kane is not match fit, presumably he needs minutes to get there for the knockout stages?
There definitely is a conundrum. Too many of Harry Kane's touches have been too far away from the opposition goal. You just need to listen to the co-commentary of Alan Shearer last night in the live game. He was clearly exasperated by Kane's performance, by where Kane was finding himself in the pitch. He was coming too deep. He was playing with his back to goal. He wasn't stretching the game. And England weren't getting players up round about. I think the whole, on paper, a front four of Kane, Saka, Bellingham and Foden looks as potent as any attack at this tournament. It's just when they get on the field of play, these two games, they haven't gelled at all.
Yeah, less than the sum of its parts, it seems so far, doesn't it? Let's go back to The Sun. Charlie, your paper, Matt Hughes, writing on the back page, Poch lines his pockets. Tell us about this big payout for Mauricio Pochettino at Chelsea, and you're, I guess, provocatively putting him forward as a candidate to replace Southgate here.
Yeah, and another 10 million goes down the pan at Chelsea. I don't have the figure, but over the last 15 years, how much have they spent on payoffs, the managers? Goodness me. Yeah, 10 million to Pochettino. He's now got his money, which means he's free to manage anywhere, really. And that could be England. He'd be certainly a manager that England would look at. Gareth Southgate's contract runs out later this year. I still think they will end up leaving, regardless what happens at the Euro. So England will be looking for another manager. Pochettino might be a popular choice. I'm not sure how popular it would be back home in Argentina, to be honest. But I think he'll certainly get another job in the Premier League. One day, I'm convinced he will end up at Tottenham. I'm not saying it will be his next job, but I think he'll end up going back there.
Roger, could you see that happening?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, without doubt, I could see it happening. I thought Pochettino got a very raw deal at the end of last season at Chelsea. I felt the job he did to take them into Europe, the way he got the best out of players like Cole Palmer in his first full season, if you like, in the Premier League was fantastic. He just clearly wanted to go in a different direction from the club's hierarchy at Stamford Bridge. But whatever his next job is, whether it's with the FA, whether it's back at Tottenham, he'll do a good job again.
Absolutely. We'll watch Mauricio Pochettino's movements. Looks like he's got a bit of pocket money to keep himself tied over for the time being. Let's go to the Scottish Sun. Roger, Robert Grieve writing your paper Going Home. Really sad story around Kieran Tierney. How big a blow for Scotland and for this player who's had a tough run, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has. He's not as trouble to see Kieran, a terrific player. He got a big move from Celtic down to Arsenal. I thought he did terrifically well. But injuries have come at regular intervals. Even when he went to Real Sociedad for the season-long loan in La Liga, this season, Teddy has been troubled mainly by hamstring problems. He's been in and out of the team there. I think Steve Clarke was delighted that he was fit to go to the Euros. Didn't finish that first game against Germany. Because I think the management do try and wrap him in cotton wool as much as they can. But the run back, you could see from the moment he just clutched his hamstring with one hand, he put the other hand in the air, clearly demonstrating that he needed help. He was stretchered off. And listen, I just hope he's back for whichever club he plays for next season. I hope he's back as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And Roger, just coming back to you, another piece by Robert Grieve. Scotland Star has been told not to even think about checking out of their Euros training camp hotel. This is John Carver, isn't it? What did you make of this? Is this an important message to sow in the players' minds?
Yeah, a little bit of psychology from Steve Clarke and John Carver. The players are staying down right on the southern tip of Germany, near the Austrian border, at a lovely place called Garmisch-Partenkirchen. And they should check out to go to Stuttgart for the final Group A game against Hungary on Sunday night. They're heading up, but they're leaving all of their luggage behind, if you like, because Steve Clarke and John Carver have told them, you're not going home, you're going to beat Hungary, you're going to make history by reaching the last 16, and you'll be back in your hotel rooms on Sunday night. Do
you share the optimism, Roger?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, mind you, I think I said that before the opening game against Germany, and you saw what happened then, Teddy, but we bounced back, great point against the Swiss, much improved performance against the Swiss, and we've been trying to do this, getting beyond the group stage for 70 years now. Surely at some stage we're going to do it.
Fingers crossed. Surely it's Sunday night. Let's hope so. Thank you very much for now, gents. Roger and Charlie, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at more of the back pages, including this in the Telegraph. We showed you at the top. Bitter orange. Atwell and Taylor sparked Dutch VAR row. This after the Netherlands controversially denied a winner against France. And more to come on that. Welcome back. You are watching Back Pages tonight, and it's welcome back to the Sun's football editor Charlie Wyett and the Scottish Sun sports editor Roger Hannah. Let's go back to the Telegraph for sports supplement. First page, Charlie, bitter orange, Atwell and Taylor sparked Dutch VAR row. Were the Netherlands hard done by with Xavi Simon's goal, do you feel?
I think it's offside, and I know it's probably not a very popular opinion. Just looking on social media, and the vast majority of fans, I think it should have stood. But Denzel Dumfries he's standing in the way of Mike Mignon's eye line with the ball, and I get the argument that he probably wouldn't have saved it. Very unlikely, but he didn't have the chance because he was standing there. So I think it is offside, and I really do understand why Virgil van Dijk looks so angry there, but equally, I think most fans think that should have gone in because the keeper probably wouldn't have saved it. But ultimately, I still think it's offside and the right decision.
Yeah, Xavi Simon's almost in tears, wasn't he, Roger, watching that, and the goal snatched away from him. There's a picture there, as you say in the Telegraph, very clear cut. He's very close to Mike Mignon. But the story there, Euros has first VAR row, and it's all down to the English. Was it not so much the decision, but the protracted nature of it, and the fact that the referee Taylor wasn't sent to the pitch side monitor? What did you make of the English? Were they slowing things up?
Well, listen, as much as we like to hammer referees and VAR officials, Terry, I think Anthony Taylor and Stuart Hardwell probably called this right. I agree with Charlie. He's in an offside position. Mike Magnon is stopped from diving for the ball. Whether or not he'd have saved it, that's an argument for another day. it's the rule that's probably wrong as opposed to the application of the rule by the English officials. Yes, it took time, but listen, we've grown used to that, having to wait for these delays by VAR, whether we like them or not.
Charlie, can I ask you just quickly on the game itself as well? France 0, the Netherlands 0. I know there's headlines out there saying Mbappe, without him, France struggled. Was this cause for perspective for England fans and maybe optimism in a way that the outright favourites weren't looking that great?
Teddy, I think you're right. It's the first couple of games of any tournament can often be strange. I mean, Portugal won the Euros in 2016, didn't win a single game in their first 3 matches and finished third, I think. Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia at the World Cup, and I'm not saying on this current form England are suddenly going to win the Euros, because they're obviously not. There's a lot of improving to do. But I think, the sense of perspective, France didn't get going, wasn't a great game. Really poor both teams in the final third. I think France missed Mbappe. That is a worry. But equally, it just shows you that, it's still not impossible for a team to just overcome a slightly disappointing couple of games to really get going. But I think for all the teams involved, the third group games are key. You've got to finish your group stage as well. And that's what I'm sure England will be looking to do. Absolutely,
and Scotland all to play for. Let's stay optimistic. I suppose for France as well, I'll be buoyed by the fact good young players like Michael Olise are still coming through. Got a story here from David Ornstein in The Athletic. Olise chooses to join Bayern Munich from Crystal Palace. Roger, how big a blow for Crystal Palace, and I suppose how big a loss for the Premier League fans as well if he does go to Bayern?
Certainly a big loss to the Premier League. You see the way he played when he came back from injury last season, the performance against Manchester United particularly standing out. Chelsea were keen, Newcastle were keen, but I think Vincent Kompany knew the player well from the Premier League last season. He is his first sort of blue chip signing, if you like, as Bayern Munich head coach, and he will do well. You look at that league, you look at the way Jadon Sancho took back to the Bundesliga last season when he went from United back on loan to Borussia. And I would think Olise would sparkle at Bayern next season. As Charlie said, Harry Kane got 43 goals for Bayern last season. If you've got Olise suddenly joining the list of creators for him, he might even get some more next season.
Gnabry, Zana is a ridiculous list at Bayern Munich. Charlie, should Crystal Palace fans be worried, or will they reinvest this money well? And what are the ramifications for Berrieza, etc.?
I think they'll invest the money well. They're getting a decent amount. The release clause is 55 million, and they offered him a huge deal to stay at Selhurst Park. The biggest deal in their history. 150, 200,000 pounds a week. But Bayern Munich, they're going to pay him 220,000 pound a week. Olise did have the choice of Chelsea. They've tried twice to get him now, and Newcastle. But I think it's a great opportunity for him. But for Palace, I think their recruitment's generally really, really good. They've got a great manager, and I'm sure they'll still have a decent season.
Let's hope so for Crystal Palace. What a wonderful end it was under Oliver Glasner last campaign. Let's talk tennis, Roger. Come back to your paper, the Scottish Sun, in the sidebar there. Last-ditch op hope for Andy Murray to have emergency back surgery on Saturday. I guess he's one of Scotland's all-time greats. How sad is it, the struggles he's going through at the moment with the various injuries?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Teddy. I mean, you can make an argument that Sir Andy Murray is Scotland's greatest ever sportsman. He has done so much for British tennis. He's done so much for Scottish sport over the years. But at 37 years of age, you do wonder if the finishing line is fast approaching for Andy Murray. He has played for a few years now with that metal hip. Quite how he does it, I don't know. He's had all manner of injuries this season. I think he's only won 7 games in the calendar year of 2024. We would have loved to have seen him one last time in the centre court at Wimbledon, even if it was just one round. You have to wonder now, how do you have back surgery, even minor tidy up back surgery, one day and 9 or 10 days later be expected to play a first round tie at Wimbledon? I think it's a big ask, even for someone like Andy Murray.
Indeed. Express back page, Charlie. Murray opts for surgery in bid to make SW19's swan song. Maybe Scotland's greatest ever sportsman. He's certainly one of Britain's all-time greats as well. Rather than worrying about how he'll play at Wimbledon, is it now a case of concern for his welfare? Of course, he's a father, potentially wants to be a grandfather down the line. Have to maybe look after this body a little bit?
Look, I think he'll be all right. let's hope he gets to Wimbledon. He deserves that send-off. I mean, I was on centre court back in 2005 when he burst onto the scene, and we actually got him as a columnist at The Sun in 06 and 07, and he was always a joy to deal with, and he's had a tremendous career. I don't think people are really giving him the credit for continuing to play and actually win tournaments and just win any matches playing with a metal hip. No other singles player has done that. Doubles players have, but not singles player. It is unbelievable what he's achieved. And yeah, definitely not just one of Scotland's greatest sportsmen, but without doubt one of Britain's greatest, if not the greatest.
Jack Draper through to Queen's quarterfinals, knocked out though. How much will we miss Murray, Roger?
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, he fronted British tennis for many years. Emma Raducanu, of course, when she won in the States a couple of years ago, you thought she was maybe going to kick on as the face of British tennis. It's not quite happened so far for Emma. But Jack Draper, terrific, great win, a statement win against Alcaraz. Lost to Tommy Paul today. There's no disgrace in that. He will be a big name at Wimbledon this year, Draper. We hope he can get at least into the second week and offer British tennis real hope for the future, for the day when Andy does hang up his racket.
Yeah, it's going to be a sad moment, isn't it? So, gents, we've got time for one transfer story in your paper, Charlie, by Jordan Davis in Wuppertal. It's Slovenian perspective, I suppose, on the big match against England. And Benjamin Šeško, all eyes on him. Chelsea and Arsenal, apparently, in for the towering striker. It's going to take something to prize him away from RB Leipzig, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's set to sign a new contract. But yeah, Jordan spoke to him today. Real player to watch. We're going to see him, obviously, in a few days' time. Let's hope he doesn't play too well. But I'm sure at some stage, he's only had one season in the Bundesliga. They want him to stay for a second. But at some stage, we're going to see him in the Premier League. But let's hope, we don't need too much of him in Cologne on Tuesday night.
Just nod your heads. England and Scotland both going through to the knockout stage. Yeah, brilliant. Love it. Good way to finish that. Let's feel good feeling. Roger and Charlie, thank you very much for your time. Thank you as well. If you missed any of the show, another chance to see back pages tonight at hour. And do remember the show is also available as a podcast. Just download back pages on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.